My name is Catherine. I'm the proud mother of Katrina Lee and Spencer Lee, both of whom have gone through a pretty full Baker and Bloom journey in their preparation for teenage years, their growth, how to fulfill their aspirations, but also, in preparation for college application. So happy to share more with you today. As someone who came from Hong Kong, who grew up in Hong Kong, who actually went to the States for college, I thought I knew a lot about college applications and what the requirements are and how to prepare your own children. But in fact, that is actually not quite true, because the process has further developed, things have changed, and I think what schools look for may not be what they looked for when I applied, which is many years ago. And so I was heartened to find that there is quality educationists like Renee and her team that are very much focused on giving the children the best that they could be, grow them naturally, help them naturally, but at the same time also fulfilling what the US colleges are looking for in this day and age, right? So as an example, when I was applying and I went to Penn myself, I thought being very broad and extracurricular is the way to go, and that was the way to go back then. But in fact now, if you're just very broad and extracurricular, all the kids applying look very similar. And what Renee taught me very early on for Katrina's application, by the way, she's graduating from college next year, right? So that must have been 7-8 years ago when we were preparing her, that there needs to be this T thing, right? The T thing meaning you need to be broad in your interest and abilities, but you also need to be deep, and the depth of what the college looks for in each child is something that I wasn't aware of, and I think I was so glad to know about that, and therefore plan the child's development in such a way and let her thrive in such a way that there is depth at the time of application. So this is just one example. There are other examples when Katrina thrives in her academics. I don't have to worry too much about it. She loves chess, and so she naturally would compete and join that, and therefore that area becomes her vertical here on the depth side. But for my son Spencer, as boys actually mature a bit later, he wasn't really finding his thing, right? But I thought in general he was more interested in sciences and projects and breaking out of the traditional mode to find new things, and innovation became part of it. But I also got to know May at Baker and Bloom, that really, her background was exceptional, right? She was Carnegie Mellon graduate, she's an engineer, she's a NASA engineer. So she was able to really work with Spencer very early on to let his passion and interest come out, be constructive around modules and projects, and let the kid really do something fun outside of school, but also thrive on different dimensions. And May is I wouldn't be able to find May myself. I think it's through Baker and Bloom that Renee would have a team of very high quality people to really let them guide the children. And I think that's what makes Baker and Bloom special, and not to mention Min yourself, in guiding Spencer through the, furthering his project, Tap Speech, right, which wasn't even called Tap Speech at the time, for a kid of 15 and a half, 16, to know what it means to build a company, what are the skills required. He has a passion, he has an idea, he wants to help society, he wants to help the elderly, he has a cool app, which is a good idea, but in terms of putting it together, he had no experience. And I think that you guiding him through the journey, growing, and letting him ask you the questions and pivot and go through it, I think that's also tremendous. And you knowing what colleges look for really means that we don't have to waste time doing stuff that we don't have time to do because all the children are so busy. So it was, all told, and there are many others, very good teachers that I have not mentioned, but Baker and Bloom is this institution that has the depth and the talent to really help the kids with whatever they want help on, right? And I'm aware of many of my friends, other parents who have put their children through Baker and Brunei are very happy with the help and the assistance that have been provided. So, so that's my sharing. So when I first heard about this competition, the City Innovation and Technology competition, which is actually the first one done by Hong Kong, sponsored by the Innovation Commission in Hong Kong, as well as Science Park, I wasn't thinking too much about it. And I thought, my boy Spencer is in good hands with Min anyway, so I'll let them do whatever they need to do. And so I know that he was preparing for it. I'm aware that he had to put together slides, but I never looked at them. I trusted Min and BNB so much that I'm like, it is what it is, and let him go through the journey. Whether he does well, he doesn't do well, it's learning nonetheless, right? To be able to win in a competition, great. But to fail also is great because you learn from it. So it's interesting because I knew that he entered, he went to a pitch, and then he went into a semi-final for a Saturday. He went, and then he told me that if he wins, he would have to be notified immediately to go to the final competition, right, in the weekend. And so I was curious. So over dinner, I think on Friday, I asked him how he did. He said he did okay. And then lo and behold, like around 9 p.m., we were notified he actually got into the finals. So I thought that was pretty cool. I never expected it. And so because the finals was on a Saturday, I thought as a mother, you should go and support him. And so I did. Big hall, Science Park, very impressive. You've got, very well-known judges and adjudicators. There's a stage and there's a big screen. And, you saw your boy basically walk up there with his co-founder, Gabriel, and in front of so many people, they had to pitch, right? What is the startup? What does it do? Why is it relevant? And some of my friends were in the judging panel, and so I actually walked up and actually sort of said hi to them in the beginning, but I didn't say the name of my son. I just said he's in the finals, and so they were like, "Oh, congratulations!" and we'll see, right? No, I didn't say anything. And so when he finished the pitch, I asked him, I said, "Were you nervous?" He said, "Oh, I'm so nervous." Understandably. And they were sitting in a quiet side somewhere waiting for the results to be announced. And I thought he did a good job. And I thought the idea was very original. It also addressed a very important person, which is caring for the elderly, which is becoming an important problem for a lot of countries in the world, and China being one of them. Hong Kong being part of China also has that problem. So it's relevant, and I like that. Of course, when the announcements came for the winners, the chief executive, Carrie Lam, showed up, and she was going on stage to give out these awards. So I was clapping away, looking at how other people were winning, and I was listening to other people's pitches. So it's a secondary school section, but there was also primary school, there was university, there was also the open section. So there were like 4 sections altogether. And so I never expected Spencer to win, and I was basically looking at some emails on the phone when the MC was announcing the winners, and I suddenly heard the word tap speech, and I'm like, what is it? What? And then I kind of looked up, and Spencer was going up stage to get the award from Carrie Lam herself. So I had to run out of my aisle, get to the end, then go in front, and there were so many photographers trying to take pictures, right? And I had to excuse me, my son is winning, so I have to get up in front and please let me to take the picture myself. So I did. And it was one of the most moments I will never forget. And I saw Spencer looking at me and nodding his head, being very happy, and being very happy that mother was there to see that he win and sort of see him pitch. So that was a very important moment for us. He walked off stage with the award, and we were hugging each other, doing high fives, and it's one of those things. It's okay not to win, but I think it's a great thing to win, because it also teaches him, and he said this to me, he said, "Mom, I really learn now that hard work pays off." And it's important for the children to realize it for themselves. It's not as good as parents, you were trying to dictate to them, oh, you need to work hard, you need to do this, you need to do that, right? It's hard work pays off, Mom. All the late nights and all the sacrifices I made to do well and right, is now coming to fruition, and I'm getting rewarded and recognized for it. I think it's a very important feedback loop for a young teenager, and I think he's going to take the lesson at heart and be able to, it's a positive reinforcement which would serve him well in his college days down the road. I think it's slightly different for the two of them. I think for Katrina, she's already quite confident in her abilities. BNB gave her depth, right? It reinforces a few things she's aware of, such as, learning physics here and literature, etc. It enables her to do even better in those subjects, right? But for Spencer, he's a different child, very different from Katrina. And so I think BNB gave him more confidence about himself that he didn't have before coming here, by virtue of the quality of the teacher, how personal the teachers has been for him in his journey, right? One-on-one sessions, and really not having a certain prescribed curriculum for every child. It was tailored for him. It was interactive. It evolved with him, and it's kind of a journey together with the coaches as well. So I think that's what made Baker and Bloom very special, because it really gives each child a chance, and it gives each child an opportunity, a unique pathway that is most suited to them. It's not a one-size-fits-all type of a situation. So I appreciate that a lot with Baker and Bloom.